Yes, guys, and welcome back to the Irish Hotspur. We are going into our second month with no manager, and not having a director of football is holding up the appointment of a manager, as they want to know who will be overseeing Tottenham's transfer strategy. Because, look, I don't blame them. It's failed us over the last 3 to 4 years. As we know, Nagelsmann withdrew himself from the running for the Chelsea managerial vacancy after expressing concerns regarding the Blues' recruitment strategy. It's clear that Nagelsmann does want to work alongside experts in recruitment to help implement his tactics and philosophy, and it is believed if Spurs are to appoint a director of football, it could help secure Nagelsmann's future. So with that being said, let's take a look at Lee Dykes and Johannes Spors, who have both been linked with that director of football job. So Lee Dykes' name was thrown into the frame. Let's look at his experience. Lee Dykes started his career at Rotherham United as youth team coach. He also worked in recruitment and scouting at Crawley Town, Notts County and Oldham Athletic. He also spent 3 years at Carlisle United as assistant manager and head of first team recruitment, doubling up on jobs there. Lee then went on to spend 1 year as sporting director at Bury, where they won promotion from League Two, but 12 months later, Bury were expelled from the EFL because of financial troubles, and I must stress that all fell down on the owner and his running of the club. It had nothing to do with Lee Dykes. Lee then joined Brentford from Bury in 2019 to head up Brentford's recruitment department. At the start of the season, Dykes was promoted to technical director and continues to oversee Brentford's recruitment department. As part of his new role, he is also responsible for analysis, data technology and player pathways, and one of the key men behind Brentford's rise to the Premier League. Dykes' career has largely evolved around scouting, recruiting and managing and coaching young players, and is one of the youngest heads of recruitment in the Premier League today. Dykes has experience in working in all four professional divisions in England, which I think would bode well for Tottenham Hotspur. Let me tell you why. Tottenham, I believe we currently have some of the worst English players in the Premier League, and the appointment of Dykes, for me, I would not be surprised to see Tottenham go after young English talent down the leagues and look to develop them like we have done so well in the past. Danny Rose, Kyle Walker, one was brought in from Sheffield United, one was brought in from Leeds. Both formed a key part of Pochettino's squad. Aaron Lennon, also brought in from Leeds, went on to have a good career at Tottenham. Gareth Bale, brought in from Southampton, went on to have a great career at Tottenham. You also look at Dele Alli as well, probably one of our most recent ones, coming from MK Dons into Poch's Tottenham team and worked an absolute gem. So maybe is this a route where Tottenham are looking to go down, where it's going to be sort of English-based focused? Very interesting to see what happens there. Now, let's look into Lee Dykes' strategy. Now, he does believe that strategy is paramount. These are words from Lee's own mouth. These are from an interview. He says, when you become a Premier League club, you find out quickly that you are a club that players are willing, almost desperate to sign for, which was not the case when you were in the Championship. Now we are a Premier League club based in the west of London in a brand new stadium. You can imagine what contacts we are getting, but we are not agent-led. We know which players we want. Not agent-led. Levy will absolutely love that. And basically what agent-led basically means, he's saying that they stick to their players they have identified rather than being swayed by opportunities that agents present them with through transfer windows, which shows good planning, good scouting strategy, and also long-term vision and planning, which is everything Tottenham fans want, the fact that they're not swayed by spontaneous opportunities. But we already know every decision should be made with long-term durability and thoughts of the financial situation, even though we are in the Premier League. So long-term is in his mind, obviously, which is good for Tottenham, and also finances in mind, which Daniel Levy would absolutely love. Dykes would rather develop players already in the academy and trust them rather than using the loan market to bring in players to cover positions. Now, I remember when he was at Brentford, I think he brought in Winston Reid to cover sort of central defenders. But that's the sort of only time that Brentford have really done that. But they promoted a young guy and used him through that Championship season to be to develop him basically, because they had only recently brought him in. So that's sort of maybe an indication of him rather bringing through players rather than using that loan market. Now, when you look at the situation at Tottenham, of course, we had Gill. He was loaned out rather than developing him. And we brought in Danjuma on loan, who was more developed. If Dykes does come in as DOF, I don't think we will see this much more, to be honest with you. I genuinely believe you'll see the likes of Gill, Scarlett, maybe Parrott, Sarr, Devine, who are already in and around the first team squad. Obviously, some are already out on loan as well. I think they'll also be kept around next season, developed, and maybe they could be a part of the new look Tottenham going forward. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. Now, their recruitment at Brentford, it is data driven, a bit like what Brighton's is. If the data is good or interesting, then Dykes will go and take a look at a player. And here's his own words. We cover things cleverly. We have a lot of data in terms of identifying talent throughout the world. We don't need to watch every game to identify the players in the way we work. But the ones who look interesting, we get eyes on them very quickly. There is no chance we would ever sign a player without having eyes on him. We use data when we sign a player. Our owners made the money through data, and it is my job to incorporate that. We combine data with knowledge, and it works pretty well. But he has said that strategy does have to be embraced by the people at the top. In Tottenham's case, that would be Daniel Levy, and that went on to say they also have to trust the recruitment and the manager and follow through that strategy. Here again, his own words. You need people at the top who embrace the strategy, but some clubs do panic. Look at us. I think Thomas Frank here didn't win for nearly 10 games, but we had the stats, we had the data, and we could see the progress. But a lot of clubs think like this. With some clubs, that's hard to do. Some managers have an average tenure of 9 months. Now, look, many fans have said that, pointed to Brentford's recruitment, Brighton's recruitment, and both of them are data-led. Even Bluma and Brighton, he made his money through a data sort of company. He's incorporated that into their scouting model. Look how well it works for them. Brighton's owners also earn money through data sort of companies and stuff like that. And look how well it served Brentford, both clubs maintaining themselves in the Premier League. And it is sort of the way futuristic scout departments are going, where it is data-led. So it'll be interesting to see if Dykes can bring some of that data sort of based knowledge and implement that at Tottenham going forward. Maybe it is a strategy, or maybe this is one of the reasons why they are looking at this guy as well, as his knowledge of the English period, being able to bring in players. And interestingly as well, Brentford own FC Midtjylland in, I think it's Denmark. And Dykes was also tasked with replicating and combining the scouting networks for both clubs as well. Now, interestingly, Scott Munn has history in the City Group. Is this a route that maybe Enoch Group are looking to go down? Could we potentially see them buy another club with some of the people that they're starting to bring in place? Who knows? Now, let's take a look at some of the deals that Dykes has overseen. He was heavily involved in the deal for Ivan Toney, who replaced Ollie Watkins at the time. And these are Dykes' own words on the Ivan Toney deal. I can't tell you how many people spoke to us about Ivan, managers included, who told us they weren't sure about it and they would not have done that deal. But we did our homework. I knew Ivan from his days at Northampton and when he moved to Newcastle. When he made that move, he was a young, inexperienced player who had been bought for a good fee at a young age. But when he moved to Peterborough, he had a child himself and something changed. He became a leader. What a guy he is. And he's a top striker, but we did our work. People do change, and we knew it. I firmly believe a Premier League club should have taken him. So very interesting, a striker that many people would like to see at Tottenham, Ivan Toney. Despite people in the game making sounds about the guy, they've done their own research and they backed themselves and stuck to their strategy. And once again, it paid off. Also, some other young players and other deals that Dykes has been involved with. Young Aaron Hickey, the Scottish fullback. You've got Keane Lewis Potter. You've got Mikael Damsgaard and Buemo. Ben Mee, he oversaw Christian Eriksen coming to Brentford at the time as well. So some very smart recruitment by Dykes at his time at Brentford, and that's only a few names that I've picked out. Dykes has done an excellent job at Brentford. If he can bring some of that data-led analysis that have served Brentford and Brighton so well in the Premier League, combined with his eye for young talent and overseeing their development, I think he'll suit Tottenham, to be honest with you. You look at a lot of the players we've got out on loan: Gill, Spence, White, Scarlett, Parrott. Can he do anything with them? You've got Devine and Sarr already in and around the first team. Will they be a part of Tottenham's future? Also, you look at our under-17s and under-18s, both winning the Premier League Cup in their respective age groups. You know, it's a good opportunity for Tottenham to maybe look and plan towards the future. Maybe use some of them under-17s, under-18s, the best ones of them, and look to clear a pathway and get them into that senior team at some stage down the line. You look at Man United, they used that class of 92 who went and won the FA Youth Cup at the time. And look at the success Sir Alex Ferguson went on to have with them. Is Dykes being maybe targeted to come in and oversee this and maybe clear that pathway for these guys to come through in the future? Again, let me know in the comments what your thoughts are, because for me, if Tottenham did bring him in, it would show me maybe there is a long-term plan there, a long-term vision. It provides a direction and that I believe many fans can get behind, that many fans have been screaming for. But again, it does all depend on someone like Daniel Levy following it through, like Dykes has said. But the biggest question is, would Nagelsmann be inspired by the appointment of Dykes? I mean, I don't think he'd have any problem with his recruitment, you know, with the way he likes to, with his eye for young players. Nagelsmann, as we know, at Hoffenheim had no problem throwing some young players in. He had no problem working with Salzburg guys that were sent to Leipzig while he was in the dugout at Leipzig as well. So for me, I think Nagelsmann would be able to work with the guy. But look, let's move on to the other guy that's been linked. His name has also been thrown in the frame by Florian Plattenberg of Sky Germany. He reported that Tottenham are looking at Johannes Spors. Now, not as much research out there or not as much articles or that out there on Johannes Spors, but I've read a lot of what I could find, and here it is. I'm presenting it to you, so let me know what your thoughts are. So what experience does Johannes Spors have? Well, Spors began his career producing video analysis for Hoffenheim and then went on to key scouting roles at RB Leipzig and Hamburg. At Leipzig, he oversaw many players move from Salzburg to Leipzig. He joined Vitesse in April 2020, and in his first full season with the club, they finished fourth to qualify for the Europa Conference League, and they reached the Dutch Cup final. However, despite signing a new contract with Vitesse in the June until the end of the 2023-24 season, Spors has been appointed general manager of Genoa in 2022. He also works, this is interesting now, he's a sporting director for 7-7 Football Group, overseeing all sporting operations at group level and working closely with the sporting directors of each club in their portfolio. Now, clubs in their portfolio do consist of Hertha Berlin, Genoa, Standard Liège, Melbourne Victory, and also we've got a club out in Brazil as well. And basically what 7-7 Sports are is they're a bit like an investment group, but they also have like basketball teams over in America. They're also like a media sort of company as well. You know, Spurs works for them. So it'd be very interesting to see if Spurs would give up that role to come to Tottenham, and would Tottenham make him want to give up that role in order to take the job at Tottenham. You know, do Tottenham look at it as being able to look at the clubs connected with this guy through that 7-7 Football Group? Could they look at using them clubs maybe to be able to send players out on loan if this guy is in charge at Tottenham, to develop Tottenham players there and keep a close eye on them? And also, could they use it as their benefit to maybe look at some young players coming through at these clubs and maybe get them over to Tottenham Hotspur? Who knows whether Tottenham look to use that, and who knows whether they might even look at it as potentially turning them off or maybe a stumbling block towards the deal as well, because you've got to consider this guy did only join Genoa last year as well. So there's a lot going on there. Does he want to give up the role in 7-7 Sport? Does he want to sort of give up his role at Genoa? I'm not so sure. Me, I think that's why you've seen the reports for Lee Dykes come out since, because maybe Tottenham have been turned off this sort of deal. CEO of 7-7 Sport, actually, I believe he worked in the City group for about 10 years as well. Same as Scott Munn. And like we said, we seem to be looking at a lot of these people have worked in either the Red Bull group, the City group. We're looking at Dykes, who have worked in the Brentford group, who also on Michelin. Very, very interesting to see this maybe route that Tottenham are going down. Now, let's look at the strategy of Spors. Spors on his preferred playing style. He says, I made it clear I am standing for a certain playing style. It is intense. If you compare it to the Premier League, I'm going more down the Klopp direction than the Guardiola direction. Most important is that the club has a clear strategy. You have to make clear the way the club wants to play and the definition of the position needed. The scout can only deliver quality when there is clear profiling. Very often the clear profile or the analytical work is the problem, where he basically says, the scouts can only deliver quality when this is clear by profiling. So what he means by that is, the profile of the player is very, very clear, very, very detailed, rather than maybe, half-assed, basically. Very interesting there. He likes to do his deep dive research into players before they come. Now, some of the deals he oversaw, I've just picked out two from the Leipzig group. Werner, bought for 9 million, sold for 45 to Chelsea. Upamecano, bought for 9 million, sold for 35 million to Bayern Munich. That's a return of 84 million from 18 million worth of investments. So the guy clearly seems to know what he is doing. Now, can Nagelsmann work with Spurs? Well, Spurs did work under Rangnick at Hoffenheim. Nagelsmann has also worked with Rangnick, who actually says that Nagelsmann should take the Tottenham job. He also brought a number of staff to Vitesse as well with him. Will he want to do the same at Tottenham? Will Tottenham allow him to bring that amount of staff? And if he did, maybe it would convince Nagelsmann that Tottenham are set up, ready to go this summer with all the people in place. So there you have it, guys. That's all the research on Dykes and Spors. Let me know in the comment section which one you prefer, which one you think would work best with Nagelsmann, and sort of what project, what vision would you be able to get behind from these two guys. Maybe there's one more sporting director worth mentioning. I'm not even going to go into a deep dive, but just keep this in mind that Napoli sporting director Cristiano Guintoli doesn't just interest Juventus, as Tottenham and Chelsea are also keeping an eye on the Italian, apparently. Now, he is on his way out of Roma. He does have a year left on his contract, but he feels he can't take that project any further. Now, I know him and Juventus are currently already in talks, but it'd be interesting to see if Tottenham make a late move for him. Also, reports in Italian media today linking Tottenham to Spalletti, who is the Napoli manager as well. Now, I haven't really seen any Spurs sources pick up on that, so I'm not sure how true that is. We know with the Italian media, there's a lot of crap in it, but maybe that's just one to keep an eye on. But guys, if you have liked the stream, make sure you smash that like button. We've got a good record with all you guys out there really helping, getting all the streams over 100 likes. So let's see if we can get that done. Like I said, also, I'm interested to hear your thoughts, your comments, and your opinions on the research that I've done and what I've relayed to you on some of these sporting directors. So please, in the comments, let me know which one you want, which project you want to get behind. Have a good day. That's it from me. As always, come on, you Spurs. In the Irish Hotspur we trust. If you have enjoyed the stream and you want to help this channel keep growing, feel free also to use that super thanks button. It really does help out everything we do here. But as always, come on, you Spurs. Everywhere we go.